So I'm so excited. On the Zing Wellbeing podcast today, we are joined with the fabulous Melissa Larkins, who's a nutritionist and naturopath and medical herbalist. And today we are talking all things liver. Thanks for being with us, Mel.
Oh, so my pleasure. The liver is like apart from the gut, the liver is the next, most important of our naturopathic organs.
Okay, I'm excited because we talk about the gut a lot being created at the same time as the brain, and the gut's so important. But we haven't had an in-depth chat about liver yet. We do have liver meal plans in menus, which is why I really wanted to talk about this, because I don't think that enough people really know what the liver does. I previous to this, when I thought of liver, I thought about alcohol and drinking too much. And then when people who have got really a big problem with alcohol, they'll get cirrhosis of liver and fatty liver. But that's really used to be my top knowledge on the subject. So talk to us about the liver. Why is it so important, and why should we nourish it and care for it?
Well, I think when we look at it naturopathically, it's basically, like I said, one of the most important organs, because it has such a big role in how we take things out of our body. So that is known as an excretory organ. You have other ones like your kidneys, they make the wee and we take it out. You've got your skin. Often when the liver is overloaded, you will get symptoms through your skin because it's trying to get out, things are trying to get out another way. And your skin's pretty big, so it's got a lot of surface area to bring things out.
Like what symptoms? You're talking spots? You're talking about?
Yeah. Well, if someone presents with acne, we're going to go straight to the liver. If someone presents with like rosacea or flushing or, so many different things that we go back to the liver. But probably the most well-known kind of one would be weight loss or weight maintenance. Obviously, if your liver is not working properly, you won't be able to shed excess weight. Hormonal imbalances. Most of the negative effects of menopause, we will kind of contribute to the liver. So all of these things happen because the liver is overloaded and it is under a lot of pressure, and your liver is very good at prioritizing the most important toxin. So when that happens, it will obviously go through different phases in the liver, and there's a little bit of controversy about this. We still work on I still work on a phase 1, phase 2, but some people think there's 3 phases. But basically phase 1 is going to collect all the toxins from your body, and then phase 2 is going to allow them to be excreted or take them out of the body. So you need certain nutrients for both of those phases to work, and certain herbs and supplements can increase the ability of those phases to work a little bit better as well.
Okay, so I just want to jump on a point about acne, because there's lots of mums listening to this, and they've probably got, well, a lot of them have definitely got teenagers. I've got teenagers. Acne is a common thing of teenagers, right? Is there something that if we're looking after the liver, it reduces that? What's the connection there? Because obviously hormones are running rife, right?
Definitely. So because your hormones are prioritized over toxins, it's kind of the same with menopause, but we have this overload of estrogen trying to exit the body. And so when your liver is overloaded and it can't do that, it throws it back at you, and you get something like a hot flush coming up. Your liver is, we consider the liver to be a very hot organ when it's overloaded. It wakes you up at night with heat often if you've had a big night drinking, because it will do a lot of its work in the early hours of the morning. And if it's feeling a bit unhappy with you and your choices, then it will throw heat back at you. It'll wake you up. You might be thirsty, all that kind of stuff. For our teens, they have this, surge of hormones coming through them, and that takes a little while to balance out, especially for our teenage girls who are getting all kinds of things thrown at their body, including all this estrogen that they're trying to get used to. So the liver will be a little bit overloaded, or prioritizing those hormones. And some of the toxins, we have to remember that some of our teens don't have the best diets, that kind of thing, a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, they will be pushed out of the skin. So for both boys and girls, we treat acne. A, we balance the hormones, and B, we put in a fair bit of liver support.
Wow. So if mums, parents are listening to this and they have a teenager that have got acne or a lot of spots, go to the liver.
Yeah, yep. There's a herb that you can use called chase tree or Vitex for both boys and girls.
Yeah.
It's also kind of the main herb we use for a lot of our reproductive goals in women. But that, along with some St. Mary's thistle, which is one of your major kind of liver herbs, lots of greens in the diet, and plenty of water will help with that.
Yeah, wow. Because I saw a post actually a couple of months ago, and it was someone posting that they're in menopause and they're doing Botox for menopause, but at the same point they've got acne everywhere, and I feel like they're in the middle of two evils of kind of the acne and then the wrinkles. Yeah. And I had a chuckle because obviously you've previously told us about how the liver is so crucial in menopause, and it's and if it does manifest itself with acne because you're pushing them out, like, it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Poor thing.
Yeah, I know. It's tough, right? So Mel, like, obviously there's herbs, like you just said, St. Mary's thistle and Vitex and stuff, but what about foods? Can we help our liver just from what we eat, breakfast, lunch and dinner every day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. You basically, your food, everyday kind of food, can become medicine if you want it to, and that happens by eating whole real food, but it's important that you are getting the micronutrients that your organs need to function. So for the liver, it needs certain amino acids, so you need to be having enough protein in particular, but it also needs stuff like choline, and choline primarily will come from eggs, so we need to make sure that they're kind of included. So it's just about making sure that you have those nutrients. The other big one will be greens, like I said. So kale, spinach, broccoli, any of your cruciferous vegetables. So that includes like cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower.
And Brussels sprouts, yeah?
Yeah, and Brussels sprouts, yeah. They contain a compound that will help your liver to go through phase 2. In the body, so they really support your body taking toxins out, so increasing your plant foods in particular, but especially if they're green, that will really help your liver out. Then your liver also relies on your microbiome to function, so not only do you need food for your liver, I always talk about like different parts of our body have different favorite foods. That includes your microbiome, and we're not going to I won't get stuck on the gut, but you do need the right foods coming in to feed the microbiome so that your liver can function properly as well. And for the most part, that's plant foods as well. So lots of fresh fruit and veg, in particular like what we call like polyphenol rich fresh fruit and veg. They are going to be purple and red foods, and but any plant food is going to be a prebiotic for your microbiome, which can then support your liver to do its work.
So I've got a question. So I know we talk a lot about gut health, and I'm a big fan of gut health, and I think what we're saying there is if your gut health isn't looked after, then if you eat those liver friendly foods, they're not going to work because your gut can't process them, right?
Yeah, they might not work as well. They probably still will have some effect, but it really does depend on that microbiome. If it's very, very, very depleted, it will be harder for it to have a positive effect on all of your organs, When you have a depleted microbiome, your cholesterol goes up, and that's an inflammatory marker because your microbiome can't do its job in maintaining producing anti-inflammatory metabolites for the rest of your body. So your heart is at risk, your kidneys, your liver, all of it needs that support from the gut.
So if someone hasn't loved their liver, shall we say, especially over festive periods or party periods, and maybe, maybe it's been 12 months of, maybe not eating the best foods or, drinking a lot of alcohol, whatever it is. And they're thinking, right, I'm going to get my liver sorted. Can you reverse some of or all of that negative effect that your liver's gone through over a few weeks? Or is it something that you're only really going to see the benefits if you do it for a long time?
No, your liver is amazing. You can cut it in half and remove half of it, and it will grow back.
Wow.
It will regenerate itself. It will repair itself. The things that are most important for life and survival in our body seem to have the best kind of ability to fix themselves, right? So the average diagnosis of thyroid disorder, which is really common in women, is about 10 years. And that's not because we have all these bad GPs, we're not doing the blood tests right, we're blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure, they're all factors, but your body will maintain your thyroid function for as long as possible because it is so important for your life, your survival. It's the same with the liver. Your liver will take, compounds and nutrients and whatever it needs from wherever it can to function. My master's is in drug and alcohol addiction. So even if we see people who have had long-term alcohol use disorder and their liver will repair, we can reverse fatty liver. The way we treat high cholesterol is, partially through supporting the liver. It will generally respond quickly. And, for the most part, it'll fix itself up. With the right
and how long
help.
are we talking? Like, if someone has, had, it's not just about alcohol, but if alcohol or, foods that have not been, looking after the liver for a long time, like how long does it take to regenerate if you follow, say the 7-day meal plan that you've created, which is liver friendly? Is 7 days going to do anything, or you need to do it for 30 days, or does it depend on the amount of damage you've done over time?
Yeah, I'll give you one of my Mel answers, which isn't really an answer. But it's just there's so many factors, right? So, the 7-day liver plan is certainly going to help. But if you can pull some of those things on and continue them, that is obviously going to be better. It depends on all the other factors like the stress in your life. What other chemicals are coming in. So if you have this fantastic diet and you eat, all of the right things for you and you generally you're pretty healthy, you exercise and stuff like that, but you're surrounded by heavy metals at your workplace, or you have a really highly toxic chemical laden home. We know that new couches are sprayed with like fire retardant and stuff like that. We find those things will put extra pressure on the liver. So it's not just the alcohol, it's not just our hormones, it's our environment as well, because your liver responds to all of those toxins coming in. When we do a spring detox or a New Year's detox, we always include, hey, why don't you swap your toothpaste out for a natural one? Why don't you swap your spray and wipe for a natural one? Let's make some homemade cleaning products. Get secondhand wherever you can. Don't buy new curtains, carpets, couches, as much as you can. Make sure you wash your new clothes and your sheets and stuff like that, because they have formaldehyde on them to make them all nice and crisp in the shop. So it's just it's holistic, and it's all of those lifestyle factors. And for sure, let's reduce your stress and that kind of thing, and let's look at the diet. But yeah, it's a bit of everything.
I love what you're saying there, because obviously we've got our liver cleanse plan out now, but I'm gonna get created like what do we call it? Like an external factor liver cleanse. So your toothpaste, your deodorant, your washing powder, the spray. Like I always try and choose when I'm in the supermarket the is it the Eco? What's it called? Earth Choice. I usually try whether it's for the dishwasher tablets, washing powder for the kids' clothes. My clothes too. I wash my own clothes, and spray, kitchen bench spray and stuff. But it goes further than that, doesn't it, like you say, because it is toothpaste, and I use Colgate, so that's probably really bad. Shouldn't do it. It is, like you said, the sofas. It's all these extra things that I think we don't think about. We don't. I think about the things that are right in front of me, but you don't really think about those further ones. So I'm gonna get something for that as well. So thank
And
you.
look, your body's made to deal with it. You know, I used to do this big detox talk, right? And so stand up on stage, have so many people watching, and then I'd be like, so, you know, we've got all these toxins. The way that we term it is you've got endogenous, so the toxins that are produced within you, and you have the exogenous, so the outside factors to consider. Some will be within your control, and some just won't. Sometimes you need a new couch. Like, you know, what are you going to do? Like, you got to buy one. Sometimes your toxin might be the Colgate, and you've changed everything else, but you just love Colgate. So be it.
I don't. It's just easy.
Your body can deal with it, but right? Because then I had this big slide and it's black, and it's like, so why aren't we all dead? Your body can deal with it, you know, but it's just about changing things where you can and reducing the overall picture, the overall pressure that is on our body, which is quite high in a modern world. We have pesticides and chemicals on everything, you know, like there's so many factors to consider. And I don't want people listening to freak out and go home and chuck everything they have out. It's about, same as our diet, we make sustainable changes. So when the spray and wipe runs out, you swap it for a natural one, or you make one, or like whatever. When your Colgate runs out, go and look for, there's a million natural toothpastes in the supermarket now. And, you know, even 5 years ago, they were only in the health food shop. So this stuff is more and more accessible for people, and hopefully less expensive than it used to be as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think on that note, this is slightly off topic, but could be on topic. Soft drinks, particularly Diet Coke or Coke. So many people are addicted to that. Like it's you know, crazy really when I see the addiction. Does that affect our liver, or is it other organs? I know that it kind of has an effect on bones and calcium, but what about other things that it does? And, you know, if we're talking about making changes and positive changes, you know, even going, stop drinking Coke.
I would so much rather my patients have regular Coke than a diet version. So if you see, you know, all of the sugar-free stuff now, like all of the artificial sweeteners, we know are probably worse than what your body knows what to do with sugar, right? We've had it for a long time, especially being Caucasian. Our body is, you know, we are programmed to know what to do with that. The artificial sweeteners, our body doesn't know what to do with it. It looks like, from the research, it might be kind of storing it in our brain and raising our risk of Alzheimer's and dementia and, you know, these kind of things. This is all tentative, but I think that if we go back to that whole real food kind of, you know, picture, sugar kind of has a place there. You can see where it's come from. You can see what it's gone through. Your body does know what to do with sugar. We're exposed to it. And
when you talk sugar, you're talking the white stuff, you're talking honey, you're talking, you know, agave, you're talking anything which is a sweetener, right?
Well, when I say sugar, I'm talking about the stuff in Coke, which is basically your white sugar. Whether it's brown, white, blue, it's all sugar, you know. Some of them will have longer or higher GIs, so longer life in the body because they're not as processed. Maybe there's bleach involved in white, you know, those kind of factors are other factors to consider. Something like honey is not a process, it's not from sugar cane. It is made by bees and it's natural, and generally if you can get a raw natural honey, it naturally contains chromium, which stabilizes your blood sugar levels. Blah, blah, blah. Agave is pretty processed. However, it's full of minerals, just like maple syrup. So it is full of minerals. It's a little bit more of a whole food version than the highly processed sugar. And agave also is a lower GI. So there's different considerations with all those different sweeteners. Yeah. I am more than happy, yes, when I say, hey, have some sugar. Any honey, agave, maple syrup or sugar, your body's going to know what to do with that. The artificial sweeteners are a huge worry for me. Like, I'd rather my kids have normal Coke than Diet Coke. I don't let them get lemonade at Macca's anymore because the lemonade at McDonald's is only sugar-free lemonade, which, you know, I can't get my head around how they can do that.
But with Coke, my eldest did a little thing the other day, which I hadn't seen done before, but I'm sure it's really common, where you kind of boil the Coke in a pan and see what happens. And it turned into this horrible, like a sticky, thick tar. And then when we left it for about 10 minutes so he could show my other kid, it went rock hard. It was like rock. And I was like, oh my God, like that's going into your body. So aside from the artificial sweetener, whether you're having the diet or the normal, what about that? What about what we're putting in our bodies?
It's not great. It's not great. Like, I'm not taking them to McDonald's and getting them Coke every night. But yeah, it's got a bunch of different colours and preservatives and all that kind of stuff to consider. And other stuff that we probably, I don't even know if you know the full recipe of Coke. I don't know if they even released it. They'd have to say what was in it. But yeah, look, it's obviously soft drinks fall into our processed food. Well, they're not even a food. They're something that has been created out of nothing.
But is our liver, when we're ingesting that, and the only thing I can think of is like a tar, right? When we're drinking Coke, if people are drinking Coke, is it our liver that is getting that tar out of the body? Like, which organ has to deal with that?
Yeah, I don't know that it would turn to tar because we're not as hot as like the pan.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm getting into the nitty gritty now. I had a mentor, right, and she used to keep a cheeseburger in a glass container with a lid and the fries. It was years old. I think it was decades old now, and she puts it on Instagram occasionally. So the cheeseburger's unchanged. It's got so many preservatives that it still looks exactly the same as the day she bought it, right? And I've seen other people do this.
Yeah.
The thing that everyone says is that it will still be like that in your gut. You know, that's what it does in your gut. That can't be the case, or we'd all be very sick and probably dead. Your body will deal with what you put in. You see people having like alcohol use disorder. They survive, they go to work, their liver's still working. It takes a lot for you to get at many factors and many comorbidities for you to get to a place where you have fatty liver disease or a liver failure or something like that. And keep in mind, they had to call non-alcoholic fatty liver disease that name because so many people assume that they were just drunks, that they were alcoholics if you had liver disease. It can happen for many other reasons, and genetics will play a part as well. So yes, the Coke is going to have to go through multiple kind of areas in the body. It will start to be absorbed in the mucous membranes in the mouth. It will then travel down. You've got your gut will do what it will do with it, which includes your microbiome, your enzymes, your acid, all that kind of stuff to digest it. And then your liver will likely get the toxin load, which is probably more of that, the chemicals, the preservatives and stuff in it. Maybe the sugar's going to go through, pancreas and that kind of thing as well. And the liquid itself, the kidneys will deal with and will weigh it out. But your body can deal with this stuff. It's amazing. We get chemo. People get chemotherapy, which is a very, very, very harsh drug regime, and their body does survive.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It is. I mean, chemo, I've known people who've had it, and it's just brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like a truck of Coke, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
per
worse,
minute.
That's poison.
Yeah.
And people put all kinds of poisons in their body every day, and they're still alive.
They survive.
And yeah, they do survive, but you're opening yourself up to chronic disease states and ill health and all that kind of stuff, as well. So I see people who have, terrible diets, like my nan, for example, and she's still alive, whereas my grandma had a beautiful diet and she passed away like 7 years ago. So it's so many different factors that equal, the outcomes.
And when you talked about non-alcoholic fatty liver, what's other than genetics, obviously, which we know play a part in these things, is there, how much of that is from diet? I know there's things, as you say, like the formula hide and the sofas and the curtains and all the things we're doing from our lifestyle, but how much is from the food we eat and the exercise and our general, I suppose, lifestyle we live?
Yeah, I don't know like a statistic. There may be one out there, but generally non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is a comorbidity that will commonly occur with other metabolic diseases. So things like diabetes, things like heart disease, would often be in that picture. But in saying that, it can occur without, it can occur in very, not the picture that you think of when you think of metabolic disease. Someone who's not obese, who doesn't have any of those other comorbidities. So sometimes, I'm seeing a lot of cancer at the moment, and sometimes it's just luck of the draw, I think. I can't see a rhyme or reason to some of this stuff.
But like you say, our diet is more than the food we eat. It's everything, right? It's what we consume, it's the stress, our life, sprays we're using, hairspray, oh good Lord. I use that. But it's all these things, right? And I think that it feels complicated, but when we peel it back, it shouldn't be complicated, because it comes down to, majority of time, obviously genetics are there, what we eat, whole foods. Look, because when we talk about nourishing our gut and nourishing our body, if we're eating foods that do that, chances are those foods are going to help liver, heart, brain, all of it, right? It's all connected. But it feels like we have overcomplicated life, and made everything so difficult because of supposed advancement of the human race. But it hasn't, because convenience has basically taken over. And then because of that, we've got chemicals, processed food, everything. And then if I had $1 for every time someone said, I haven't got the time to eat healthy, oh my goodness me. Because there's a preconception that because convenience is such a big part of our life, that if we have to make our own food, God forbid, that we don't have the time to do it. So we'll eat out, we'll get processed food, and we won't cook because people think they're too busy, or they are too busy. And I think that it's like we've overcomplicated life. Like if we just pare it back and go just simple things like make your own food, plan ahead. It doesn't have to be hard. Like last night I was I didn't have any food really in the fridge, main things, but what have I got? I had tuna, tin of tuna. I've always got tins of tuna, onion, garlic, some spaghetti, and some peas in the fridge. So, we made up a really quick pasta dish, and everyone liked it. It was nice, it was easy, and it honestly only took 5-10 minutes max, because it's such an easy thing to do. But I think that we all have got into this habit of thinking that life's too hard and we want convenience, and there's Uber Eats everywhere, and I don't know, it just feels like all the issues, the chronic issues, not all of them, sorry, I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of the chronic issues people are having, it's because we've strayed so far from basics, right?
Yeah, for sure. Humans, they like to overcomplicate things and make everything really hard. And, I will have lost patience by saying, you don't need to do that. We just need to go back to real food. And it took me years to learn that not everybody's food motivated. That was a big lesson for me. Not everybody loves to cook or can see how those ingredients can go together in the kitchen. That is very foreign to them, it's like me and accounting. That does not go well. Not everybody has food as their passion or their priority or anything like that. It's not black and white, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can get convenience food that's healthy. You can get pre-spiralized zucchini now. You can get your pumpkin cut up already. I know, that's so. I always see those, and I'm always like, is there someone sitting there chopping the pumpkin and shredding the lettuce? And and I actually think I would love that job. I would love that job. That's my job.
I know, but it's so funny, isn't it? When you go to that section, everything's spiralized for you and done for you, and I just feel, oh my God, I have bought them sometimes, I must admit, but they do obviously put the price up for them.
Yes, you do pay more for sure. One of my secret hacks is that I've got frozen cut up onion in the fridge. Good one. I love that. I hate cutting onion and I hate peeling garlic. They're my two things in the kitchen. I'm like, you know what can I do to make it easier for me?
I love that.
to, you know, it's just about finding little hacks that work for you.
Yeah.
If you don't like cooking and, you know,
Yeah.
are able to financially, you can order this stuff. You know, so many deliver to your door things now
Yeah.
that are healthy, you know, like
Yeah.
so many, and they pack it up for you. You can cook it, or you can just completely get it all done for you. And even the frozen section, you know, we did a little, I don't even know if that's up yet, but we did a little few pictures of what to look for
Yeah,
in
we
frozen
did.
meals.
That was great. That was your kind
Yeah.
of like convenient, healthy picks. And there were some great
Yeah.
hummuses. I can't remember was it
Yeah.
Swan? I can't remember the brand you told me, but
Pilpel,
there were some really
I
good
think.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't have to make hummus. You don't have to. I gave up making labna a very long time ago. That is, you know, that's just something that I don't want to make.
Yeah.
You don't have to make ricotta. You don't have to make any of that. Like, you know, and that's going a bit further, but you don't even have to cut your veggies up. Still, that somebody might buy that pumpkin and still not know what to do with it or what they can,
Totally.
you know, make with
Yeah.
it. So then preparing and planning becomes the biggest, you know, the most important thing. It is, if you don't have the prep and the planning, you will not succeed with any dietary changes.
I think that's with
basically.
any changes.
Well, yeah, yeah. Even going to the gym, you know, you
Yeah,
would you book it
totally.
in and you plan it for your week.
Yeah.
It's the same with food, and we have some really great tools at our disposal to do that now, like direct to your boot with Woolies. You know, you can just get your meal planner off Zing, choose the meals that you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a different dinner every night. You can have the same dinner 3 nights in a row if you want.
Totally.
Yeah, just cook it once, and just a little bit of prep and planning is going to go a long way.
And I
Yep.
should say that actually with our meal plans, we do have a different dish every single breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's not because we expect you to make every single dish breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's so you've got choice. Because
Yes, you can
if
pick
we
it.
were only to put, you know, two recipes on dinner, you'd be like, well, if I don't like that, I'm stuffed. So we wanted to go. There was as much choice as possible because I love food. Like, you know, I know not everyone loves it. I do. I love food, and I love, you know, delicious food and trying new recipes. So I love having that variety, so I can go, actually, I don't fancy that, but I do fancy that, or I'm going to try that, and I'm going to, you know, mix them and match them a little bit and mess around. But
Definitely.
I think you're right. A lot of people just don't know what to do with that food, and that's where kind of, you know, having you know, meal plans that we've created, which you know are nutrient dense and they're good for you, takes away the guesswork, because
You've got to outsource
yeah.
it. I outsource my accounting. You know, that's not something that is it's not beneficial for me to do it myself. So
Yeah.
you don't have to write recipes. You don't have to write meal plans. You don't even have to cook, you know, every night or all the time. We just got to find
Yeah.
something that works for you. The other thing I was going to mention, Rianne, is that yes, we have our genetics, right? But eating all of this, there's this other thing called epigenetics, and it's how what we do changes our genetics. If I have a really deep family history of type 2 diabetes. The way that I eat, the way that I live is designed for me not to get that. So you can, by utilizing food as medicine and exercise and lifestyle factors, you can, you know, choose a different path if you like for your genetics. You can, just change it. You don't have to switch those genes on, essentially.
Yeah,
They're not
so
all
you
like
take a
that.
proactive approach.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're not all like that, but, you know, for the most part, like if my cholesterol starts to climb, if my blood sugar level goes up, if I'm not, you know, regulating my blood sugar level and not eating regularly and all that kind of thing, if I don't have enough protein, I situate myself in the perfect position to develop type 2 diabetes, and I have that family history. So, yeah, you can have a bit of control over that. It's not just
amazing.
predetermined.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's the important thing, right? Is that we can all have a bit more choice over our destiny rather than just going, that's it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm stuffed. I've got to just, you know, deal with the cards you've been dealt with. Like, you can do proactive things
Yeah.
to improve it. And I think that's what it's all about. It's just about, because we're not here forever. You know, we're all going to die. It's going to happen. But what we can do, every choice we make, everything we do, it can have a positive impact on our life. And that's not to say become obsessive with every single thing, you know, you do, but I always think that if you can try and do it for the most of time, when you're not doing it 20% of the time, you know, that 80% is gonna carry weight, and it's gonna ensure that your body kind of stays on the right path. Thank you so much, Mel. Always fantastic to talk to you, and great to hear more about the liver.